Today is Friday the 13th. Wow. It's morning in Los Angeles and it's morning in America. I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my morning political thought. All right. As for news articles, I'm just going to glance over a few things. I haven't, usually, if I do side news articles, I'll prepare them and have everything set up. But in this case, I just have the Washington Times open. Also with the Epic Times, I love it saying the Epic Times. They are now the number one downloaded newspaper app. So Epic Times is catching on and people are seeing that they're a really reliable source. So yeah, and that's one reason why I've used them in the past. I like the Epic Times, and also I'm subscribed to them too. But anyways, I'm just gonna click over some things and see. Now I did bring up one thing because I mentioned yesterday, I believe it was, and it was just in passing, that one of the cases landed in front of an Obama appointed judge. I said, but I wasn't sure. It's like, I think he was a Republican or something like that or whatever, but it was in Pennsylvania. And it just so happens in the Washington Times, they had a part where it says Obama appointed judges get fraud cases. So, and this is by Alex Schroyer of the Washington Times. It says Republican election fraud lawsuits are landing in the laps of judges who got their jobs on the federal bench from the Obama-Biden White House. President Trump's lawsuit alleging voter fraud in Pennsylvania went to the U.S. District Judge Matthew Braun, who was appointed by President Obama in 2012. Republican congressional candidates alleging voter fraud misconduct in Las Vegas are making their case before U.S. District Judge Andrew Gordon, a 2013 Obama appointee. Conservatives so far aren't sweating the case assignments. They say Mr. Trump's record. And where is the rest of the article at? On this. Let me skip forward a little bit. I want to go a little bit further. It's not saying if it's continued on another page or not, but I'm going to skip forward and see where we're at. Order support, Steen, appeals. I'm going through the paper for those who are listening to see. Now that's interesting. Yeah, that story just stopped. It didn't say where it continued at. All right, let me double check that again and see. What am I missing here? On page 1. Yeah, it just stops. It says they say Mr. Trump's record, and then it stops. And then in the upper right-hand corner, it says close calls, Democratic and Republican canvass observers watch as Lehigh or Leahy, however you want to pronounce it, county workers count ballots in Pennsylvania and several other states. So yeah, that's weird that it stopped like that and it doesn't say continued on. All right, well, let me throw something else out. President Trump bans funding for Chinese military. President Trump signed an executive order on Thursday, barring U.S. investments in Chinese companies owned or controlled by China's military, as he tees up a series of executive orders on school choice, immigration, and other conservative priorities before January 20th. That would force presumptive President-elect Joe Biden, President-elect, I'm President-elect, to work to reverse next year. So yeah, so President Trump is doing executive orders while all these legal challenges are going on. Another thing, photos show China expanding nuclear arms plants. That's not shocking. China is rapidly building up its nuclear forces, including the expansion of plutonium and uranium plants as part of a secretive crash program to add warheads to its growing missile and bomber forces, according to declassified U.S. briefing slides by the Washington Times. The four slides were part of a recent briefing for NATO allies in the past month on Chinese nuclear forces and show three facilities that appear to have sharply increased in size since 2010. That's not shocking news. Let me see if there's anything else going on. I'm going to check the Epic Times and see if we have anything. Okay, so I guess Lindsey Graham is trying to get in Republicans' good graces, especially after the beginning. He wasn't up for all these recounts and everything else. So Lindsey Graham is donating $1 million to Georgia Republicans in runoff races. It says Senator Lindsey Graham said November 12th he's donating $1 million to help Georgia's two Republican senators retain their seats in upcoming runoff elections that will decide which party has the majority in the Senate. He said, I'm going to donate $1 million to Senators Loeffler and Perdue from my campaign to make sure they have the resources to combat a tsunami of liberal money about to sink in Georgia, Graham said in an interview on Fox and Friends. So yeah, Lindsey Graham is just, he's trying to stay in people's good graces right now, is what I believe that's about. Also on the Epic Times, it says election outcome unclear amid pending recounts and legal challenges. The states they have up on the Epic Times are Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona. And as I said before, I believe President Trump won all of these. And if that's the case, he doesn't need Pennsylvania, but he is hanging his hopes on Pennsylvania because that seems to be where the most fraud has happened. Everybody's talking about in Michigan, there was a lot of fraud too, due to some software. We'll see where that goes. Let me see what else. FEC chairman says he believes there's voter fraud in key states. So that's another thing that's going on, which I saw them tweet that yesterday. Anybody with half a brain knows there was voter fraud, period. This isn't, it doesn't take rocket science to figure all of this out. Rudy Giuliani, and if you, like I mentioned before, if you want to get the most detailed information on what's going on the ground, listen to The War Room with Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon has some guests on there that are very, very knowledgeable, and they get down into the details of breaking things down, how stuff is happening on the ground, and then they talk directly with the people sometimes too, like they spoke with Rudy Giuliani. They've already spoke with Rudy Giuliani, I believe, two or three times already, definitely at least 2 times already. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of moving parts because of so many states and because of so much fraud, in not just election fraud, but voter fraud, because election fraud and voter fraud are 2 separate things. So voter fraud, for example, is what Andrew Yang is talking about, where people are planning on going to Georgia, saying they moved to Georgia so they can go ahead, register to vote, then they just leave. And then they vote in the Georgia election, which I was mentioning with the senators. Election fraud is something on the level of what happened in Pennsylvania, where they shut things down and then ballots appear all of a sudden, or something related to software, which they're still digging into that. Sidney Powell had brought that up in regards to this particular software. That software is also the software that was used in Venezuela, of all places. It's affiliated with the people who created voting software for Venezuela. And you can dig into that as well. But that's election fraud. Voter fraud and election fraud are 2 different things. However, Even though they're two different things, both things have happened in this election. Election fraud has happened and voter fraud has happened. And that is what everyone is combing through right now. Whether they will be whether they will be successful or not in all of this, who knows? I hope they are. Like I told you, President Trump won. He won. When they cheated, when they did cheating 1.0, President Trump beat cheating 1.0. After they had seen that the amount of votes that came in for President Trump was going to override the original cheating that had already been done, that's when they switched to cheating 2.0 and said, okay, we're going to stop counting the ballots. And then everyone went to sleep, woke up, and then it's like bippity boppity boo. We have new ballots saying Joe Biden is winning the state. That's what's going on here. So I'm curious how that's going to fall out. But as for President Trump, and I'll go ahead and go into that. I'm going to check one other website just to see if there's anything interesting. I'll go to Just the News right quick because John Solomon's site is good too. I'll see if there's anything on there. duh, 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 duh. Yeah, they're just talking about the win that President Trump got in the Pennsylvania court yesterday in regards to saying the Pennsylvania Secretary of State didn't have the authority to change stuff at the last minute when it comes in regards to the date of ballots being accepted and things like that, that actually falls to the legislature. Looking for this. Yeah, multiple Michigan residents swear they witnessed widespread voter fraud. I mean, yeah, nothing really new here. I don't see anything new here in regards to this. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and go straight into my morning political thought, Trump 2024. Okay, so sources are saying, and this is the thing, sources. You never know with sources. Sources. Everyone swears they have sources. Sources are saying that President Trump plans to announce his 2024 run right after he concedes. I don't see that happening. I just don't. And this is not premonition, this is intuition. I don't see that happening because they are not going to give him a chance to run in 2024. It's not going to happen. It just isn't. My intuition is telling me that. It's not going to happen. Because if they did everything they did before he became president, where they were spying on his campaign and creating fake dossiers and doing this and doing that, and also managed to steal an election, because that's what it would be if Joe Biden is sworn in, but I still don't feel like he's going to be sworn in. Like I said, I'm still not at the point of break glass in case of emergency. I'm still not there yet. I know some people are like, oh my God, he's about to be sworn in, and I'm just chilling. So I'm not there yet because I feel that all of the dirt that was done, because there was so much dirt, that it's going to come out, and that's going to be that. Now, I will say I'm not hanging my hopes on the Supreme Court because, as I mentioned before in my episode, I hate to be the bearer of bad news in regards to the Supreme Court of the United States. You don't know how judges will vote when they put on the robe. Everyone thought John Roberts would vote a certain way because he was nominated by George Bush. And John Roberts seems to be pretty much center-left is what he is instead of center-right. And with Amy Coney Barrett, you can speculate on how she will vote or how she will rule, but you don't know until she does it. So people hanging their hopes on the Supreme Court, it's just kind of like, eh. At the same time, if there is enough dirt that comes out where it just cannot be ignored, and everybody's like, okay, there's something here. There's way too much stuff. It can't be ignored. Then that will, of course, work in President Trump's favor. But for him running in 2024, number one, I forgot how old President Trump, but he'll be what, 84, 86? Shit, I don't, oops. See, this is why we need a no chill at nighttime episode. President Trump will be the oldest running, if he runs in 2024, he will be the oldest running candidate in history. For sure. So, and then after he runs, if he were to win, he would have to then serve 4 years. So we're looking at close to what, 90 years old? Like, dude, come on. And this is from somebody who, out of all the presidents in my lifetime, President Trump is my favorite president, period. There isn't a comparison. And I've been around since Reagan, or actually technically Carter, if you want to get technical with it, because, yeah, but more Reagan. And out of all the presidents throughout my lifetime, President Trump is my favorite president, hands down. There is no comparison. No one can compare to President Trump in my lifetime. He's the best. So, and I'm telling you this and I'm saying this because I give it to people straight. I don't rose color things or do all of that other stuff. I call things for what they are. Whether the opinion is popular or not, I give you my opinion. And I just feel he's going to be too old. Now, if Don Jr. wants to run in 2024, which I don't even recommend that. I would rather Don Jr. move out of New York. That's number one. Don Jr. needs to move out of New York, pick a state, a Republican state, where a governor plans on retiring, working it out behind the scenes, and then get his residency there in that state, run for governor, do one term as governor, and then after he's done one governor in whatever state, then run for president. That way, he kind of knows how which he already has an idea of how the game goes, but at least he can get his sea legs and do that so he's in politics. Because the only thing that he's had is the experiences relayed to him by his father or working with his father. But as for being an actual person that executes within a position, a political position, whether it be governor, senator, House representative, president, whatever, he doesn't have that yet. And I think that would help him out. Obviously, his credibility will be boosted because he's President Trump's son. And he's already liked by most people anyway. But if Don Jr. could do that, run for governor in a certain state, do one term, and then say, okay, I'm running for president, put somebody like a Candace Owens on as his VP, that's an automatic win. It's going to be an automatic win. So that would be my preferred outcome. With the current situation, 2024, Trump 2024, I don't see President Trump doing that. I don't. I really, really don't. Even if he were to concede, I don't see him running in 2024. I know he would be livid. Now, I could see him being behind the scenes and sort of anointing, I guess you could say, a candidate that he feels could win in 2024 and pushing as hard as he can behind that candidate. But as for him himself running in 2024, I'm not saying that he wouldn't do it. I'm just saying that it probably isn't likely, and I would prefer that he not do it, as much as I adore President Trump. I would rather he not run in 2024. But like I said, I'm not at the break glass in case of emergency point. So I don't even think we're there. And with these sources that are saying all of this stuff, they're probably the same sources that said everything else that did not happen. So wait to see how things play out in the courts first, and wait to see. The recount has started in Georgia today. The recount has started. So, and they're recounting in all of Georgia. So the recount has started. Other things are happening in Michigan with the whistleblower. Stuff is happening in Pennsylvania. The Trump campaign got a win in Pennsylvania. Other lawsuits are underway. Things are happening in Wisconsin. There are a lot of moving parts right now before we can start talking about 2024, is what I'm saying. So just listen to the War Room. You can download it on the apps or either go to warroom.org and get the information there. I usually listen to it on SoundCloud, is where I listen to it at. But do that so you'll know what's going on and have reliable information of what's going on and call it a day. And yeah, I have to take a sip of my water. Okay. So yeah, that's all I have in my morning political thought. I'm obviously I'm rooting for President Trump. The marches this weekend, that'll be interesting to see how that turns out, to see how many people turn out to the Million MAGA march. I hope a lot of people do turn out. Even though I'm not one for protest, I'm one for action. The people who are doing things behind the scenes, like you have people right now who are cross-referencing the people who voted absentee and things like that online and checking the ages of some of the voters, which we've noticed that Joe Biden was really popular with people 100 years and older. So he definitely got that vote. But people who are doing stuff behind the scenes, that's action. That gets things done. I'm not big on protest. I'm more big on action is what I'm more into. But to each his own. Do what makes you happy. And that's the beautiful thing in the United States. You can do what makes you happy because you have a right to the pursuit of happiness. So thepurpleelephantshow.com, main podcasting platform, The Purple Elephant Show on Parler, on Instagram, facebook.com/The Purple Elephant Show. This episode that I'm uploading to Facebook today will be the last episode I'm uploading to Facebook. Tomorrow, I will put a note on Facebook letting everyone know that today's episode was the last episode I upload to Facebook due to censorship reasons and all that other stuff, yada, yada, yada. I'm not spending my money with Facebook and everything else when it's like swimming upstream and they're censoring people. So yeah, I'm investing more in Parler and I'm researching Rumble more as well. YouTube, Daily Motion, of course, BitChute community. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for rocking with me. You guys are the greatest. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're watching the video. And that's all I have. Until next time, be blessed.